Now, from Into Tomorrow, this is an ITTV special report.
Losing data is never fun, especially when weather or fire, other natural disasters are at fault. But how do you protect from those natural disasters? Well, the CEO of ioSafe is Robb Moore, and he's here to tell us how to do just that. Robb, welcome Into Tomorrow.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
It's a pleasure. First of all, I want to remind our audience that we've had some of your products and have really put them through the paces. You might recall we shot a highlight video of one of our guys, Jason, coming out of the lake behind my house with one of your hard drives.
Yep.
I mean, totally submerged and coming up with seaweed and gunk and everything, and we plugged it in and it worked. Then we put Robb in a bathtub, so he got all the suds and the bubbles and the ducks and everything else, and it continued to work. And then Chris tried to light it on fire. I mean, we put fire underneath this hard drive, plugged it in, and it still worked. What have you got for us now that we can abuse?
Yeah, well, our latest ioSafe is a FireWire version of our rugged portable drive, which is brand new, and we're just announcing. In fact, Dave, you're the first person to see it and hold it. And
wow.
Exclusive announcement here.
And the last person, because you think you're going to get this back?
Well, that one's mine, but I can get you another one for a review.
I guess you will.
It comes with 2 FireWire 800 ports.
Excellent.
And a USB 2.0 port. And this little slot here is a Kensington lock slot.
Oh.
So you can lock it down and chain it to something if you like. But this is machined from a solid billet of aluminum. It is definitely not the cheapest way to make a hard drive, but we've waterproofed it. It's rated for crush. It's rated for drops up to 20 feet with an Intel SSD inside.
It's rated for Chris Graveline, basically, is what you're saying.
It should take everything he can put out. Short from maybe drilling a hole right through the middle of it. That would, you'd probably lose some data there. But as far as anybody in the urban jungle or the real jungle, it's really just made to go wherever a human can go, and with no compromises.
You guys have had a lot of success, rightly so, with protecting things, ruggedizing things to protect our data. And I mentioned in your intro, whether it's a fire or other natural disaster, a flood, God forbid, whatever could happen, your data is important to you. And even if you just get one ioSafe drive that you can say, my most important life is on that drive, you need to have a drive that will handle whatever abuse it might get.
Right. Well, we look at the data universe as there's cloud data, and protected in a data center in a cloud is really the minority of data that's out there on planet Earth.
Yeah. I don't think the cloud's big enough to save all of our data from everywhere.
Data storage is growing so quickly, and 70 to 80% of data sits vulnerable wherever it is. Like today, we're recording digital data. You've got digital video. You've got digital audio. All of this right now is vulnerable, and it's being recorded at high def, and it's just impossible to stream it online. It's just impractical. And so ioSafe is about protecting all that data that sits vulnerable, whether it's in your house or in your small business or here on location when you're remote and you're working remote. We're really designing products to address that vulnerability of hard drives, and we're dead serious about protecting people's data. Yeah, we're just excited to spread the word of ioSafe.
As well you should, and we're glad to help. How much storage do you have available in your ruggedized portable products?
The rugged portable product on the mechanical hard drive versions, they're up to 1 terabyte.
Nice.
And on the SSD versions, it's up to 600 gigabytes. So
you have rugged SSD versions as well. Talk about fast access and speed. I mean, I'm loving my Sony Vaio S series with SSD. It boots up in 6 seconds. I mean, now you mentioned SSD, you certainly got my attention.
Yeah, it's SSDs are faster and they're more power efficient.
Yeah.
And they really lend themselves to the mobile type user who needs just the ultimate and rugged portability.
And of course, solid state drives typically still these days are much more expensive, but you're getting a lot more for it in terms of speed and so forth, but you're able to also protect them in a similar way to keep them rugged.
Right. We just want to offer solutions across the whole spectrum that either a homeowner might choose or a professional who requires the ultimate and rugged portability. So we want to offer those kinds of different solutions, and SSDs just fit the bill for the kind of
Is there
stuff
any
that we
such
build.
thing as a rugged SD card or something? I mean, you talk about all these storage, and I'm thinking a lot of our audience is saying, oh, micro SD in my
Yeah.
smartphone or my camera, or
Well,
how do you protect those things?
I think as soon as you start thinking about how vulnerable you are and what would happen if, you got in an accident and your car just caught fire, what would you lose? And
Yeah.
so
Just happened to our own
just think-
Rob last
Oh,
week.
that's no good.
Video on Facebook, engulfed in flames, totally destroyed.
yeah,
And great example, though, because those are the kinds of things that you never expect.
right.
And how something bizarre happens, and what happened to your data, your camera
Right.
that might have been in there, the smartphone you didn't get out, and
Right.
all the pictures you had on it.
Right, and we actually were exploring applications that are very unique to our particular side of the industry. We have in Australia we have an SSD application that is going into taxi cabs, DVRs into taxi cabs, and they're streaming video into a fireproof, waterproof container that's ioSafe and
Wow.
inside the cab,
Ah.
right, to save that video data.
Loving it. Check out iosafe.com for more info. We'll link you there too when you hit us up at intotomorrow.com to Robb's site and all of our guests here. Keep up the good work. Keep
Thanks.
making them safe and affordable, because I know that's part of the problem is it costs
Right.
money to do this, but you're keeping the price as realistic as possible.
Right.
And, of course, at your site, folks can order these drives as
Yep.
well as retailers and so forth. Check it all out. Again, iosafe.com. Thanks for joining us
Thanks,
here at
Dave.
IDF.
Appreciate it.
Back with more from San Francisco, I'm Dave Graveline. This is the Advanced Media Network and Into Tomorrow at the Intel Developer Forum. Don't go away.